Hey, this is Antonio. Welcome back to my channel. Now, who's ready for some fighting words? In this video, I want to talk about Jermell Charlo. It looks like the fight is off. Jermell Charlo has a broken hand, and of course, he can't fight with one hand, and he definitely ain't gonna be fighting no Tim Tszyu with one hand. So, looks like we're off until he gets that thing fixed. I really want to make this video for two reasons. Well, first, one, to dispel, his hand is really broken. And let's just say it isn't broken. It's really jacked up looking. That thing is swollen all the way around here. So either way, he's just not going to be fighting. And for all the people saying that he's faking, why would he fake? And what does he gain by faking a hand injury? That's number one. It's not like this is not an injury where you can pretend because you show your hand. It's one thing if you say, I don't know, I have an ear infection or something like that. You can't show those things. You can't show a torn tendon or something in your leg or something like that. You can't show that. But you can show, look at my hand. It's supposed to be like this. Now it's swollen. It looks like two balled up this. You can show that. So for the people who are saying that he's faking, what does he gain by that? And trust me, I feel like he's faced tougher opposition than Tim Tszyu for him to fake. Well, why would he be faking? Why would he be afraid at this point? It's amazing how boxing fans are so quick to say this and say that. And I don't know what the deal is when it comes to the Charlo twins. Jermell, I get it because he's a little fickle. But when it comes to Jermell, you gotta call the guy what he is. He's a straight up stud. He doesn't duck anybody. He gets his get back. He knocks guys out. He talks that trash and he walks that walk. So I really don't understand what all the trash talk or the talk down when it comes to the Charlos. You know, and they're the type of guys that live up to that. When you make them angry, they live up to it. Especially Jermell. Jermell will win, but Jermell's gonna knock you out. Like Jermell's gonna make a highlight reel out of you. So I really don't know what that is. But that's neither here nor there. I just wanted to get that off my chest really quick. But I will say this. Well, really quick, if you like the content, you like the videos, please help by supporting the channel and subscribing. Taking this opportunity right now, click that button and subscribe. You're going to get all the videos when they come in and when they post. And also, if you could please, take this moment as well and hit that thumbs up button. It really does help the channel. YouTube has rules, people, so I need you to help me out. But now let's get into what this does when they do fight. So I don't know the severity of this. All I know is that he has a broken hand. But I don't know if he's broken that hand before. I don't know if that's just old injuries coming back. So I don't know. I don't know if this is the first time. And if it's the first time, maybe it'll heal pretty quickly. But that does set him back because now he has to, train again. He has to, and if you know Jermell Charlo, I follow Jermell Charlo. Dude's always in shape. Dude always has a six-pack. He's always running. He's always on a bike. He's always in it, like he's always in the gym. I've never seen Jermell Charlo out of shape. He's always in the gym. Jermell Charlo is like a Chris Eubank. The dude is always in shape. So I don't really know what this is going to do for his training camp. I'd imagine he'd still be running. I'd imagine he would honestly just be working on the other hand. But you still have to test this thing out. Again, I said it earlier in the video. I'll say it again. Tim Tszyu is not the type of guy where you want to show up 90%. Do I think Tim Tszyu is on Jermell Charlo's level in terms of boxing abilities? No, absolutely not. I don't think he's nowhere near his level. But at 90%, they're pretty much equal. They're pretty much equal. And Tim Tszyu would take full advantage of the fact that he knows that Jermell Charlo doesn't have the firepower that he would like to have. Now, when I talk about injuries, if you look at Kell Brook, when he fought Spence, that was just an old injury that came back. And you got to think, if you break your hand once, you're going to break it again. You look at somebody like Floyd Mayweather, who's broken his hands, I don't know how many times. I think it was like 4 in his left hand. 4 times he's broken it. So it's just like if you break it once, the possibility of you breaking it again are very high, especially when you fight like Jermell Charlo. Extremely high. I would probably say more than likely he would break it again in his next fight just because of the way he fights. He's such an aggressive guy. Every punch has dynamite in it. He's such an aggressive guy, and he doesn't know how to be any other way. Jermell Charlo is not an elusive guy. He's an aggressive guy. He's a stalker, and he will hunt you down, and he'll get you out. So I don't know how that's going to fare with his fighting abilities or his fighting prowess. I don't know how it's going to, change his game up, because the reality is he's not the guy to back down. And if you give him a fight, especially in the center of the ring, he'll meet you there. So I don't know what that's going to do. Now, again, you take a guy like Tim Tszyu who can put you out with one punch. You take a guy like Tim Tszyu who's just going to get select shots. He's not going to throw a ton of punches, but every punch that Tim Tszyu throws is going to hurt. It's going to be worth it. It's going to hurt, and it's placed in a position to where the next shot will go and finish off what that one created. So I don't know. I think this desperately, I don't want to say desperately, but I think this really does change the dynamic of the fight, and I think it makes the fight more close. Now, yes, Jermell Charlo has to let his hand heal. And yes, Jermell Charlo will be cleared before he actually gets in the ring with Tim Tszyu. Yes. But again, a lot of injuries, they happen again. Once you break it once, it's hard not to break it again. You look at guys who've been knocked out once, they're going to get knocked out again. It's just the way things are, because it's been tampered with. It's been compromised. And once you've been compromised, you can't go back to pre-compromise. It doesn't work that way. You've been compromised, and this is what's going to happen moving forward. You're always going to break that hand. Or, your orbital bone is always going to be broken, unless you put some metal in your face. It is what it is. You look at Daniel Dubois. He's going to have a long road ahead of him because of the injury that he sustained in his face. Why? Because he's fighting dudes who are 250 freaking plus. That's why. He's going to have a long road ahead of him. And he's young. He's going to have a long, tumultuous road ahead of him. He better learn to box and jab and move and hold. And the same thing with Jermell Charlo. I'm not saying he can't be as aggressive as he has in the past, but he needs to be more conscious and more shot selective. As opposed to, because Jermell will literally just let his hands go. And you can do that when you have heavy hands. But now you gotta listen to your body. If you feel a little bit of a pain or a tenseness in one of your fingers, your knuckles, you're like, no, I'm gonna hold back. Maybe I need to switch to southpaw. That's gonna be interesting. So I'm not saying that Jermell Charlo can't win the fight when they do fight, because he will be cleared. But what I am saying is this. I think it evens the fight out. Even if it's just, one notch, I feel like it evens the fight out. Because, yeah, Jermell Charlo is a better boxer than Tim Tszyu. Okay. Jermell Charlo has as much power as Tim Tszyu or more. Okay. All right. Well, okay. But Tim Tszyu has two working 100% hands. Two hands that are 100%. That's a game changer. That's a huge game changer. I'm sorry. That makes a difference, people. That makes a difference. And I can't ignore it. And Jermell Charlo more than likely is not going to ignore it. And if he's smart, and I believe he is, I believe he will take every amount of time possible to make sure that his hand is fully up to par 100% before he gets in that ring with Tim Tszyu. You could do it with somebody who isn't a heavy hitter. You can get away with that. You can do it with somebody like a Tony Harrison. Not that Tony Harrison can't crack, because Tony Harrison has a lot of knockouts. But Tony Harrison is naturally an elusive fighter, not naturally an aggressive, come forward, pressure fighter. So that's why he's somebody you can do that with. But Tim Tszyu is not the guy. That dude hits hard. That dude is patient, and he's going to look for the right shot. And that's another thing that makes him dangerous. if you're compromised, you're not going to throw as many punches as you naturally would in a round. But now you're compromised. Well, you've given him space to be patient. You literally allowed him the opportunity and the space and the timing and the pacing to be patient. So that's a problem. So yeah, I mean, we're gonna have to see how the weeks play out and see how he develops. His hand develops in terms of getting better. You know, we'll see how it plays out. But at the moment, it's not a good look. I mean, it's not a good look. I don't know. You know, like I said, I'm pretty sure he's going to take the full amount of time that he needs to get his hand back. But typically, when you break a bone once, you more than likely are going to break it again. So what happens if that's round 4? You got a lot more rounds to go. You got a lot more rounds to go. One hand. You got a lot more rounds to go. Now, it isn't crazy. We've seen people win a fight with one arm. But Tim Tszyu is just a little too heavy-handed and a little too precise with his shots to be playing that little game with. So I just want to make this video to clear up some things. One, Jermell Charlo's hand is completely busted up. If it ain't broken up, that thing is swollen. It looks like there's a golf ball inside of there. So either way, he just can't be fighting. And 2, why would Jermell Charlo have to duck Tim Tszyu? Like, let's get out of here with that. Like, boxing fans, we can't be so fickle. We can't be so, oh, we love you. Oh, now you're scared. Oh, we love you. Oh, now you're ducking. We love you. Oh, you know, you can't beat that guy. That guy will knock you out. That guy just came on the scene, but he'll knock you out. Even though we don't know anything about him, we haven't seen him tested, but he'll knock you out. Boxing fans, we cannot be so fickle. I'm not saying you have to be 100% Jermell Charlo, but to sit there and say that any boxer is afraid of it, yeah, every once in a while you might see something like that. But for the most part, anybody who takes that walk down to that ring, who has to sit in that locker room all by themselves, yeah, they're with their teams and everything, but nobody in that team's going to get in that ring. You're getting in the ring. Afraid of what? Afraid of what? Anybody who's been through the amateur circuit, afraid of what? Like, what are you afraid of? When you're in the amateurs, you don't even know who you're fighting sometimes. Well, you might know their name, but you don't know anything about them. You know what I'm saying? So, like, afraid of what? We can't be saying that everybody's afraid of somebody. It's like all this stuff with Canelo. Like, oh, he's afraid of Benavidez. I seriously doubt Canelo Alvarez is afraid of David Benavidez. Like, come on. He's not afraid of Benavidez. He's not afraid of Charlo. He's not afraid of Andrade. Is he fighting them? No. Should he fight them? Yes. Is he afraid? No. I don't believe that for 1 second. No. And I won't allow anybody to say anything otherwise. If you lace up them gloves and you make that walk, and you've made that walk as many times as these guys have made that walk, especially in the championship level where you're undisputed, afraid of what? The real challenge doesn't begin until you get the belts. Afraid of what? Are you kidding me? Like, you have to fight to get those belts. Now you got to fight to keep those belts. That journey to get those belts was not easy because it started in your amateur days. It didn't start with your first professional fight. It didn't start with you taking on the guy who had the belts previous. No, it started in your amateur days. It started when you were young and you were running all by yourself in the morning. That's what it started. So, I don't know. To suggest that somebody's afraid, that's not cool. And it's an insult. That's actually what it is. It's an insult. Not many people can get up at 4 or 5 in the morning and go running all by themselves while it's dark outside, while they're still tired. One of their eyes is still shut because they're still half asleep. You don't want to do it. It's cold outside or it's hot outside. You don't want to do it, but you do it anyway. It's raining outside. There's snow outside. You don't want to do it. It's windy outside. You don't want to do it, but you do it anyway. I really hate when people say people are afraid or they're ducking or, you know, like, I don't think that's a duck. And yes, I previously made a video on ducking when I was talking about Isaac Cruz, but I said I totally agreed with him. I totally agreed with him. This ain't that. Man has a broken hand. Like, what is he going to do? You think he wants to get in there with Tim Tszyu of all people? Yo, if I'm getting in there with somebody who can't punch worth the lick, sure, by all means, yeah, I'll definitely get in there with him. But I'm not going to go in there with a guy who hits as hard as Tim Tszyu, who's putting people to sleep like Tim Tszyu, and then expecting to come out victorious. Not saying that I can't, because, you have to adapt. And I believe Jermell Charlo has those abilities. He's shown it in the second Castano fight. But he shouldn't have to. Come in at 100%. Now, there's no excuses. You were 100%, he was 100%, and he still beat you. No excuses. But that's just that. Didn't mean to go on that tangent. But drop your thoughts down below. I want to know what you think. Do you think Jermell Charlo is faking it? And if you do, tell me why. Also, what do you think about, re-injuring the hand during the fight? Do you think that could be a factor in the fight coming up? Drop your thoughts down below. I'd love to hear what you have to say. And as always, please like, please share, please subscribe to the channel.